Leah here for Clarence Media, and today I'm here having a chat to Dr. Hanabeth Luke. Dr. Hanabeth Luke is running as an independent in the upcoming elections. Thank you for your time today.
Thank you, Leah.
So firstly, we'll start with, can you tell us a little bit about your background and how and why you got into politics?
Good question. I live in Evans Head. I've been in the region most of my life, 26 years. I teach regenerative agriculture at Southern Cross University, and I've got two beautiful kids that I'm bringing up with my husband in Evans Head. Also,
lovely part of the world.
Yeah, I'm a marine rescue volunteer. But look, what drove me to politics? I've been teaching science and regenerative agriculture for over 10 years. I've done a lot of work with farmers. And on the same day that farmers were telling me about the impacts of climate change on them and their farms, Barnaby Joy said, we can't afford to cut our carbon emissions because it will hurt farmers too much. This made my blood boil, and it led me to jump up from my desk, throw down my pen and say, you're not representing the farmers. Somebody has to. I'm going to stand up. I'm going to run for government. I'm going to run for parliament. And I chose to run as an independent. So that was the moment.
Okay, fantastic. And what has been the reaction of your community since you announced that you were going to run?
It's actually been incredible. 5 months ago, I was not planning on being a politician, and a few phone calls turned into a groundswell, and now I've got thousands of people across the electorate with my corflutes in their front yard, and the people across the electorate right now standing on the pre-poll because there's a mood for change, and the response is really, really positive. You go up to people on the street and say, hi, I'm Hanabeth, I'm here to introduce myself, running as the independent. And they go, oh, okay, well, really nice to meet you. There's no animosity, so overwhelmingly positive.
Okay, that's great. And so this one can be political or not political. So what would you say, I know this can always be tricky too, what would you say is your greatest achievement?
Oh gosh, that is tricky. In terms of, I married a really good man. That's one.
Well, that's a good achievement.
Yeah, I'd say so. But look, creating the world's first courses in regenerative agriculture is something I'm really, really proud of. We've created one of the fastest growing course in agriculture in the country in the last couple of years, and that came through a lot of work with farmers and scientists and bringing the best science and practice together. And we really inspired a lot of young people to come into farming. So I'm really proud of that. And
that course is just run through Southern Cross or
yeah, that's right.
Other universities?
Through Southern Cross. Yeah, Lismore.
Yeah, great. And that is where you lecture?
Yes, I'm a senior lecturer at Southern Cross Uni, and I'm really proud of that because I was the first in my family to go to university. Yep. and still there.
That's a good one. And okay, back into politics now.
Sure.
Past or present, who do you admire in politics?
It's a really good question too. I've got to say Cathy McGowan. She has profoundly inspired me through this election campaign because she set up a new way of doing politics that I'm following. And so what she achieved in Indi, I don't know if people know too much about it, but she created this grassroots community politics where, how many times have you heard people say, I don't want anything to do with politics, it's nothing to do with me. So she did the basics. She sat around the kitchen table, she had a cup of tea with people and asked them the basic questions, what do you love about where you live? What would you like to see in your elected representative? And what would you like to see changed or done better?
Yep.
And holding those conversations gets people talking about the things that matter. And then as a community independent, she had thousands of these conversations, and those people ended up supporting her to run for Parliament, and she was successful. She took her community to Canberra, and that's what I'm planning to do here too.
Okay, that's great. And okay, so what is your favourite or your main policy?
I think it actually all flows back from integrity. I think it's so important for us to have a national integrity commission that's got teeth, because that holds politicians accountable. None of this dodgy business, it's got to stop. And it's also around levelling the playing field in terms of political advertising, making sure that politicians tell the truth and are held accountable in political advertising too. But above all, it's about making sure that the funds that come from the public purse go back to the things that matter. And that's making sure that we've got housing, affordable housing for our kids, making sure we have equitable healthcare, making sure that we have strong regional economies, and that we've got climate action as well.
So what is your vision for Page?
Well, what a beautiful region we live in, from Nellie Coffs Harbour up to Woodinbong and through Grafton itself. I have a big vision for the future, and I think we could be absolutely leading Australia in having a net zero carbon emissions plan. And I'm talking about working with farming cooperatives, I'm talking about working with local energy companies and business to draw up a big vision and strategy for the future. I'm talking about sequestering carbon through nature-based solutions on farms and paying farmers for the great things that they're doing to take care of their land. But also there are other elements that I think take a big picture approach, and that's looking at how we distribute healthcare across the region and different services, and also education, vocational training. So I've got some big vision there for the future.
Yes, it's a big area to have a big vision for. So what do you think the biggest challenge facing people in the Page electorate is?
Well, when I started the campaign, I very quickly realised that although climate change is something that people are very concerned about, housing is a huge issue. From the coast through to all of the inland towns and smaller areas, young people just can't afford to have somewhere to live. Elderly people can't afford to find a home. So that was number one. But then with the floods, housing and climate change came together, and it absolutely has intensified those challenges. And now what we have is tens of thousands of people who are displaced, who aren't accessing the funds that they need. Still 93% of people are just waiting for help, and it's actually really heartbreaking right now. And that to me has become a number one issue, because I just want to achieve justice and support for those people and give them a pathway forward. One day at a time is not enough. People can't even put one foot in front of the other right now. So that's what I want to achieve for our people, making sure that we learn from this and we have a better future. And that comes down to better planning, having better modelling systems, having easier ways for people to access funds, having locally run response forces that are well funded, and having the housing now and in the future, and of course addressing climate action and that mental health support that people need too.
And you probably just covered some of my next question with what you've just said, but what does the future of Page look like if you're elected?
Well, I think I have covered a bit of that. But look, I think at the moment we are the 8th poorest electorate in the country. Grafton and Casino in particular, we have gone backwards under the current government. Economically, half of the people live in poverty in Page. That's under $500 a week. They're underemployed. So let's boost and strengthen that regional economy. Let's bring back manufacturing and processing. Let's support our locally run farming cooperatives. We have some very strong and incredible farming and fishing cooperatives here. Let's support those industries, and tourism, small business. Let's make sure that they're really thriving for the future. And a part of that is just helping them through this really difficult time right now, and also helping new people who want to set up in those industries.
So we're here in front of your office in Grafton, which is, I don't know the address. What's the address here?
17 Prince Street.
Okay. But how else, if people want to find out more about you and your policies, where do they go to find out more?
Well, yes, I have this office. We're opening this actually today, this evening, which is, and I intend to be here into the future. If I'm elected, I will have a strong presence in Grafton. But in the meantime, I have a website, hanabethluke.com.au.
Okay.
So, and just one N in Hanabeth, it's easier to find.
Yes, I guess if they put that in Google, it's probably easy to find at the moment. Okay, is there anything else you'd like to add?
Oh, look, just that what I'm trying to do here is not just be a politician. I already had a job that I loved. What I'm trying to do here is change politics. And that comes down to this community politics. I've now spent 5 months listening to the issues of the people of Page, and that's the basis of my policies and why I'm standing. So as the community independent, I'm here to take the voices of our people to Canberra for our families and our farms and our communities for the future.
Wonderful. Well, thanks for your time today.
Thank you, Leah.
Leah here for Clarence Media.